Hi guys, Mr. Simpson here with some clear advice and pointers for you if you're considering doing a geography extended essay. First of all, you need to pick a geographical idea. Now, a geographical idea is one that is spatial or socio-spatial. In other words, can it be mapped? Is it to do with a place? Or is it to do with people in a place? That is a geographical idea. The next thing you need to do is find a syllabus link. Now, this does not have to be from the parts of the syllabus that we are studying in class. It could be from the whole syllabus. So that includes the optional themes that you can see here on the screen: freshwater, oceans, extreme environments, hazards, leisure, sport and tourism, food and health, and urban environments. It includes topics from the core, changing population, climate vulnerability and resistance, and global resource consumption and security. And it can also include topics from the HL extension: power, places and networks, human development and diversity, global risks and resilience. Now, you will have to adapt your idea, but don't get too triggered about this. You'll have to adapt it in the following way. You'll need to come up with a local study based on primary data. And what you're aiming for is a representative sample. Now, technically, you can use secondary data. It is allowed by the IB, but in practice, this leads to bad extended essays. Data sets that are collected for another purpose can lead to a lot of confusion, especially between cause and correlation when you attempt to analyze it. So what you need to do is find a geographical idea that interests you, that's linked to the syllabus, and look at the general idea and the application of the idea or theory. What I mean by that is you will have to find out about the general idea and then look up on JSTOR with my help or your supervisor's help some context-specific studies. Those are studies that use this general idea, that apply it. So, a local study based around primary data that you collect yourself, aiming for a representative example. And context-specific studies are important for you to use as you build your understanding in this idea. If you don't do this, it is very hard to write a decent analysis and very hard to show the examiner that you understand the geographical context of the essay well. Now, you'll have to choose some methods for finding out the information that you need to analyze in your essay. They could be quantitative or qualitative methods. So you might be looking at a geographical issue that can be analysed using numbers or quantities, or with qualitative characteristics, or often a combination of those two. But all the while you're thinking about making this valid research and representative of a wider sample. If your methods aren't very good, if they're not appropriately used, you will not produce good data that you can then analyse, and you won't be able to answer the question you set yourself particularly well. Here are some real examples. A couple of years back, a student did an essay about soft power of the USA. The soft power concept is a geopolitical idea that talks about influence that countries have. And this particular study was looking at the US's soft power expressed through university choice and the way US universities are marketed to students from all over the world. If you're in my grade 10 geography class, you'll understand what this idea is. Now, this was a great study in that it had a huge data set. This student gathered more than 1,600 responses, and a subset of those responses were analysed, which totaled more than 1,200 responses. This is amazing. That's exactly the data level you need, or rather, even more data than you actually need. It was a large data set. It was excellent. However, this extended essay used general information and background on the idea, and then jumped into using methods based around those general ideas, not context-specific studies. For example, this particular paper found on JSTOR, which analyzes almost the same essay question, but from a Canadian point of view, using international education as part of a country's soft power, this was not included in the methodology design, and so led to a weaker analysis. Oh dear. However, the gigantic dataset saved the day, and this extended essay did pass. Gigantic dataset was good, but the analysis was weakened by not using context-specific studies. Another extended essay, also from a previous student at Halcyon, looked at cycling in London and comparing cycle infrastructure between two European cities. And lots of context-specific studies were analysed, and their insights were used to design the methods. For example, this study from a city in Canada about cycle infrastructure. This study based in London on cycle infrastructure. And this study comparing London with the Netherlands, or rather the UK with the Netherlands, was also used to design excellent methods. Very good. However, this study used a very small and unrepresentative sample. So you can see from the map here of London that only a few London boroughs were surveyed, and this brought into question the validity of the data used. It could not claim to be a representative sample. A way around that would have been to focus the study in perhaps just one London borough. So this unfortunately limited the grade that this essay could achieve, although it did pass. So the positives of this study were the opposite to the study before. Lots of context-specific reading, but a small, unrepresentative data set. So, in order to write a good geography extended essay, you will need the following ingredients. You will test and explore a geographical idea or theory. You will do so on a local scale using primary data that you collect that has been made with appropriate methods that have been used properly. The general idea of the theory will be explained, and you will apply the theory by making use of context-specific studies in both designing your methods and then analysing the data. And those are my tips for a good geography extended essay. Thank you for listening.